Hello and welcome to AllMusicSources.com. My name is Elam Rotem, and today, together with Oren Kirschenbaum and Johannes Keller, we're going to talk about organs for accompaniment. Nowadays, when performing music from the 16th to the 18th century, it is customary to use small chest organs for accompaniment. Until the 20th century, however, whenever performing music in church, the big church organ was used for accompaniment. This includes motets, cantatas, passions, and all kinds of music that was performed in church. Naturally, the big church organ is quite different from the chest organs we use nowadays. In this episode, we'll check how using chest organs stands in contrast to the historical performance practice and conditions.
Designing a small chest organ poses a great challenge for the organ builder. First of all, there is the question of size. Size does matter.
The length of organ pipes is normally specified by feet. The length needed to produce the low C with an open pipe such as a principale is around 8 feet. This length is defined by the speed of sound and is given to us as a fact by nature. If the pipe would be half as long, only 4 feet, it would sound an octave higher. If, however, the pipe would be closed, it would sound again an octave lower and emulate an 8-foot pipe. Just like in a Gedacht register. To sum it up, if you want to build a small organ, you will most probably use stopped pipes, as open pipes would be simply too big.
Due to this very basic obstacle, key concepts of organ building traditions must be changed.
Trying to fit organ pipes into a small chest, several measures have to be taken. First of all, in order to save space, the pipes will be located below the keyboard. Due to technical issues, there are several implications. 1. As opposed to the traditional symmetrical arrangement of the pipes, now they must be arranged chromatically. 2. As metal pipes are difficult to process and to work with, they are now made of wood, which is less heavy and more resilient during transportation. 3. As open pipes would be too big, they are now stopped, and thus require only half of the length. 4. To save even more space, the diameter of the pipes is narrowed. 5. Trying to fit everything in a case, the base pipes must be crammed somehow, creating a congestion of pipes and very tight space. The result of this transformation is an organ that has no facade. That means that what was once a directional and clearly speaking instrument 1, 2, 1, 2 now lacks these essential features.
Can anyone hear me?
In addition, because the pipes are situated on the floor, an acoustical coupling of the lower frequencies occurs, producing a boomy sound. So as you see, the chest organs of nowadays are principally different from the historical big organs. Let's try to compare. Historical church organ has a principale register, full and clear sound that supports different ensemble formations, strong and supportive bass notes and transparency. Gedacht register of a chest organ, soft sound, weak bass notes, and boomy sound that lacks direction. Rich possibilities of registrations and wide dynamic range, often specifically required by the composers. Limited possibilities of registrations and dynamics, cannot support a big ensemble. Fixed to its place, not portable. Small, light, and easy to transport, can be placed freely wherever needed. Expensive to build and to maintain, cheap to build. Hard to tune, often an organ builder is required. Easy to tune, can be tuned by the organist. Fixed reference pitch, not transposable. Transposable, can be used in different reference pitches. As you can see, the full sound of the principale claims a big price, and the chest organ surely gets the IKEA practicality prize. While the sonoric advantages of a big organ are evident, it challenges the way we make music today.
Using a big organ in an ensemble is not easy. 1.
An ensemble has to adapt its reference pitch to the organ. Very often it means getting adequate instruments especially for the occasion, not to mention that big organs change their pitch according to the season.
2.
An ensemble has to adapt to the temperament of the organ. While nowadays ensembles strive to be stylistically flexible, big organs are bound to one temperament, therefore limited in this respect.
3.
An ensemble has to situate itself next to the organ, often invisible to the public on the organ loft. While in liturgy this is not always important, in a concert situation it is expected that the musicians are seen.
4.
The organist's vision is limited, and thus the communication with the ensemble is highly challenging. It even questions the presence of a conductor.
Wait, weren't there small organs back then?
Yes, there were small organs, but they were built fundamentally different from the small chest organs of today, and were not meant to be used as a substitute for a big organ. The Italian organo di legno, for example, has open pipes, but instead of metal they are made out of wood. Its purpose was to be used outside of the church, for example in opera or in chamber music. Notice that this instrument is much closer to the big organ in its size and sound, and cannot be replaced by a chest organ. Otherwise, there were even smaller portable organs, which were simply fractions of a big organ. Typically, they were 4-foot instruments. Notice, however, that also these instruments are much bigger than a common chest organ. To summarize, the historical way of making organs other than church instruments was either to accept the bulky size or to accept the reduction or shift of the compass.
Until the 20th century, chest organs were not in use for accompaniment as they are today.
Historical smaller organs were much bigger and very different from today's chest organs.
Today's chest organs could have been built in the past, but they simply weren't. The priorities back then were very different from those of today. Now we prefer cheap and compact instruments and accept their major drawbacks.
Obviously, it is not possible to use historical organs in venues where there are none. Nevertheless, it's important to be aware of and acknowledge the differences between the chest organs we hear nowadays and historical organs. As musicians, directors and listeners, we have gotten used to the sound of chest organs. A remarkable fact is that, to date, there are hardly any recordings using historical organs for accompaniment. Even for Bach's famous church music, there are only a few such recordings, in spite of his indications for using the big organ. The situation is no different for the rest of the Baroque repertoire, from Monteverdi to Handel and beyond. It could very well be that by employing historical organs, we may arrive at a very different understanding of the role the organ played.
We collected some examples of recordings that did use historical organs for accompaniment. Check it out.
So this was our show about organs for accompaniment. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit the special page on our website with all the footnotes and other extra information. Feel free to comment, share and like. See you next time at earlymusicsources.com.